specifically, we're going to go into detail answering questions that you ladies have concerning relationships and men, our Ask a Man section today. And I'm going to get it started off with a couple of questions that the ladies have already asked us in the community. Want to make sure we get those questions answered. And any questions that you have, just drop it, and we're going to make sure we address those questions today. So, good morning, everyone. Good morning, Demi. Marvelous. Good morning, everyone. So, we're going to get started today. And it was a few questions that we had, and I'm excited to jump into it. I know in the community, everyone's asking questions, and we answer them, but today we'll get a chance to go a little deeper into it. Good morning, Zaza. Right? So the first question women ask that women really want to know, right, about men and how we think. And a lot of it depends on where you are in your relationship, but the tracking and sharing locations in a relationship, right? I know a lot of women have talked about it. So if any of you ladies have ever shared information, you have your husband, maybe your fiance that likes tracking you, you track him, just share at the bottom if that's something that you relate to. And I'll make sure we go deep into it today. Hey, Brianna. Again, tracking and sharing the locations. I'll talk about how we think about it specifically, right? Because everyone kind of looks at it differently, but I'll go into detail on how most men think when we're sharing tracking information. And what happens in this is as you're sharing the tracking information, you have the conversations. The most important thing, first off, is really having those conversations, right, on sharing tracking information in your phone. Having conversations even before you get really deeper into the relationship. This is one of the foundational conversations that a lot of people may need to have. I know Natasha and I, we had different conversations surrounding about, sharing phone information, just even looking through phones and things of that nature. But the tracking part of it, how men think about it, how it makes us feel is super important to know for you ladies, right? So me personally, and even the men that I speak to, when I think about sharing tracking locations, when I'm getting your information, so when most men are asking for your information, the main reason is because we want to make sure you're safe. Now, this is making sure you're dealing with a healthy masculine energy man. Everything is good. If he's just asking you and it's no issues in the relationship, most of the time, the men want to make sure you're safe. Maybe you live in different cities. Maybe you're traveling a lot. Maybe it's something where you work nights and you're not home during certain hours of the day. We like making sure that you're safe. And sometimes you may even have us ask you to reach out to us once you get to your location. And a lot of that is connected to just wanting to make sure you're safe. We're not with you. Our main concern is protecting you in every way, in every area. So if you're out traveling, if you're out working late, just understanding that we want to know where you are, make sure you get there safe, and making sure there are no issues. So that's more of a healthy response. We also have different times where if they're asking for your information, it could deal with infidelity, right? It could be a past history of infidelity. The trust may not be there. And that's when things become toxic, right? Because it's more about dealing with what happened instead of now we're tracking and things never work out that way. I have a situation where a friend of mine from years ago, married guy, they were married for a few years, and they had a situation where the trust was broken in the relationship. The trust was broken. They didn't get any counseling, didn't get any help. They just decided to go about things in the way that they thought was best. So, of course, when there's infidelity, when trust is broken, people have a hard time just moving forward, right? And people can get sometimes emotional and things of that nature. So they started sharing tracking locations. He actually had to get off of social media, and he did these things because he wanted to save his marriage. But what happened in the long run is the relationship did not work out because he said he felt trapped. He felt like he couldn't move around the way that he desired. And they talked about, what happened and moving forward, but truly they never were able to move forward and stayed in that place. So the tracking, the getting off social media, all of that contributed, as well as whatever broke the trust, all of that contributed to them no longer being together. So in the long run, with most men, sharing that information out of some type of mistrust usually doesn't work, right? Because men feel like they can't really be themselves, and whatever themselves is, right? But they feel like they can't move the way that they want to move. So that's deeper, where you have to figure out, does this situation work? Because that's more of a band-aid in most situations, and it doesn't rebuild trust, but what it does is it causes men to feel more bound and in bondage. And the relationships, from what I've seen and from the men that I've talked to, the relationships usually don't work out. So what do you ladies think, or what questions do you have surrounding that? Because I want to go a little deeper in it, but I want to see exactly what questions you have so we can answer those. Facts. This is Made Honey. Facts. The shame is tough. Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of shame that comes in when trust is broken in a relationship, and people go about it different ways. But I've learned that tracking doesn't work for men. The only time sharing location works for men is if it's for safety reasons. If we're just trying to protect you, to make sure we know where you are, but to feel like we can't move around. Okay, I went to the store, then I stopped off, and got something to eat. Every step of the way, we may be getting a text saying, "Why did you go there? How did you get over there? You said you were going here." And sometimes, like myself, men, I know for me personally, I may, first thing in the morning, I may just want to go out and go for a 10-minute drive just to clear my mind. Everybody has a different way of going about it, but it prohibits, in some situations, the men from just getting air, from getting headspace, because every point of where we're going, the tracking shows, and now we have to answer, okay, why did you go down that street? You usually go down the other street. You're going somewhere that I don't want you to be. And the relationship, it just brings more confusion to the relationship, right? So just making sure you understand what the man's mindset is, because most men aren't necessarily looking to do something they shouldn't do. But sometimes, just like you ladies may just need to get in your own space to think, right? For us, getting into our own space may be just driving around, looking in the mountains. If you're in the city, looking downtown, just being able to get in a space where we can kind of breathe and have our own time, right? So Zaza, exactly. That's how it is in my relationship, for safety, like how I explained above in the chat. Exactly, right? For safety reasons. And if that's the case, most men would be the ones that volunteer to share information or ask you for your information. If you're the one asking to share locations, then it's probably coming from a place of hurt, a place of mistrust, and a place where he may feel like he's getting control, right? That's some serious Zaza. That's some serious stalker. Exactly. I want to take another route than that one. What exactly do you mean? Because I want to make sure we break that down and help you out with that. So that's going deeper into the tracking and sharing locations, right? So any other questions that you ladies have, definitely throw it in there, and we're going to make sure we answer those questions as well. And we had a few more questions that you ladies were asking, either within the community, and we'll get into that. But I want to give a quick testimony about one of the ladies in our Feminine Energy Academy, who, this is within 2 or 3 days in her relationship situation. And within 2 or 3 days, she had some stuff going on in her marriage. She actually reached out to the ladies within the community, and because of her attitude, right, because of her response, things changed so quickly within her and her husband. He was going through some stuff, but her response is what he said, because she didn't snap back at him, because she was understanding, because she embraced him. Her response caused a 180 change in his life within days. And that's the important part, right? Even for you ladies, even if you're sharing contact information, if something's going on at home, your response is key. Now, we have to control what we can control. We can't control what he says, how he approaches things. He may get angry, but our response, your response as ladies, right, can help shift the environment. Your response can cause us to start thinking differently. When you have a calm, feminine response, and we're all up in our masculine energy, we're puffed up. We just want to tell you what we want to tell you. Your response can bring us back to reality. And a lot of times what happens is, even in this situation with the lady in the community, a lot of times what happens is, in the moment, it's hard for us to just say, you're right. It's hard for us to just relent and just change in the moment. But once we take a step back, right, it allows God to speak to us because we're processing things. So you say it, you may expect a response right away. Okay, I told him the truth. I said it in a way that's, in my feminine energy. I was calm. I, rubbed his shoulder when I said it. He should receive it right now. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. But as long as you continue to speak to him in that way, to pray for him, to have, the people that support you, to stand in agreement with you, will come back to you, right? It may be later today, maybe tomorrow, maybe next week. We'll come back to you and we'll tell you, I may need to make some changes. You were right with what you said. I apologize for how I said that to you. What can I do? Let's make things right. But continue to stay in your feminine energy and continue to trust that it's not you, but God working through him, through your prayers and through your obedience, right? So I understand. I think it's beneficial what you're saying. Appreciate that. That was funny, Coach B. Y'all do get puffed up. Yeah, I mean, what happens is when we're hearing something and it's something that we're not necessarily ready to agree with, it's a few different responses that we're going to have. We're going to be quiet and not say anything, or we're going to defend it, go on the defensive for just because, okay, this is my defense mechanism. If I go on the defensive, you're talking truth, I'm defensive, then we're going to get off the subject, right? I'm going to defend it. Next thing you know, we're talking about something that has nothing to do with what you said, right? So understand when men do that, it's not because you're not right. It's just a defensive mechanism where we're trying to process it, but it's too much coming at us in that moment. So we're either going to be quiet or we're going to take over the conversation in a way where things get off track and we look up like, how did we get here? How do we go on this tangent? I wasn't even talking about this, and we have to bring it back. So be sure to understand your husband, your fiance, someone you may be dating seriously. Be sure to understand them so when they respond in that way, you understand that it's nothing personal against you. It's just an area that they're working through, right? It's an area that they may not understand how to respond in that moment because their nervous system just, okay, let me defend myself. Even though she's speaking truth, let me defend myself. And their nervous system is something that they're working on. I understand you and I understand your wife. I must remain calm and make adjustments. And that's always the best way to go about it, to remain calm in all situations, because it's easy to get worked up, especially when you know what you're speaking is truth. You've been doing your inner work, your inner healing. You've been in the Feminine Energy Academy. You've been talking to the ladies in there. Everyone's giving you all this good information. You've been doing it. It doesn't look like anything is changing in the moment, but trust me, just like all the ladies, just like the testimony I gave you, things are changing, but you haven't seen it yet. So you have to remain in your place of peace, in your place of continuing to praying for the situation and see things turn around. Definitely, that makes sense. And staying in the feminine is so important. And that's the easy thing. And that's not, I believe that's Tisa, all right? Hey, Tisa, how you doing? But that's the easy way to remember how to deal with things, especially when you're dealing with the man in your life, when you're dealing with some type of masculine energy. The way to not even combat, but the way to keep things peaceful is to make sure that you're staying in a peaceful place. Because no matter where he goes, and I love the testimony that I spoke about earlier, because her husband was really in a place, a challenging place. He was in a place where he was saying things that can be triggering. He was saying things that can cause you to, be concerned, but she stayed in that feminine energy place where she was just able to listen, to receive, and not necessarily give him an answer right away, because he wasn't asking for an answer. In that moment, he just wanted to be heard. And a lot of times that's what happens with men, because we're doing for others, we're doing for the family, we're doing at work. Then it's like no one's able to hear me. And men can go through that where they don't feel heard. And a lot of times to get heard, they'll say outrageous things, right? Men will say things that are just like, where did that come from? But it's coming from the inside, because he may be looking for some attention. He may be looking for you to validate how he's feeling. And just being there in the moment to validate it, to love on him, to make sure you're just that ear he needs to hear, is what's needed. A lot of times we don't need you to give us the answer, right? We don't need you to go back and forth with us about how things can be different, how my life can be better. The only thing I need to do is listen to this audio. The only thing that I need to do is just listen to this self-help. That may be the answer, right? That may be the answer, but that's not the answer in the moment that will help him, that would help the man in your life. Just continue to be there to encourage him. And this is Tisa, things are changing. Even if we don't see it, God is working in the background always. And that's what we have to trust. We have to trust that it's not within our own selves. Because as women, and me being married to Tosh, I know that women have great intuition. Women are really connected with how they feel and what's going on around them. And a lot of times that could be what you go on. But you have to understand that it's not just you, it's God that's working through you. And trusting that God is working through you. So the things that you're seeing, the things that you're dreaming about, the things that you're hearing, these things that you begin to pray for your spouse, your husband, your partner, as you begin to pray for them, trusting that all these things are working out in God's timing, not our timing, because a lot of times we want it to happen right now because it's urgent. We need it. I can't move forward until I get this answer. And that's not the case. The case is trusting God that the man that's in your life, even if this person is someone you're dating, someone you're engaged to, that God is changing his heart, or God is sending someone to you who meets your requirements as long as you stay in your feminine place. This also, I used to be that woman. I'm learning a little, and I'm listening to what you're saying. I'm going to keep working on myself. And that's the key. As long as we stay in the place of learning and understanding that even though we have a lot of answers, that we don't have all the answers. And especially when we're dealing with, when ladies are dealing with men, we're so different in our approach. We're so different in the way that we think. And it's nothing wrong with that, but understanding what you need to be, who you need to be in all situations will make things so much easier, because us as men, we're so simple. And sometimes, when I say that, I want to make sure that you understand that it's not in a bad or negative way, but we're so simple as in we're not looking for much. It doesn't take much to make us happy. It doesn't take much to excite us. And just understanding that our whole thought process when we're making sure you have your love list, making sure you stick to these things that you're desiring, and you embody who you need to be. Embodying who you need to be will draw us to you. We're so attracted to feminine energy, just feminine energy, that receiving, because we want to do. And I've seen it. I remember as I was younger, just growing up, seeing people that are in relationships, and sometimes it doesn't look like a match. And maybe some of you can attest to this as well. I've seen men and women where it's like, okay, he looks like this, she looks like this. And not that either look good or bad, but it's just not what I expected. But because of her feminine energy, is what I've learned as I've gotten older, because of what she embodied, because of who she was, most men will say, okay, I'll take someone who may not look like a supermodel, who may not look, have the body like a Coke bottle or whatever the case is, but she's so embodied in who she is. I love being around her. I love how she just takes care of the family. I love whatever he's looking for. I love how she represents that the looks, the body, all of that is something that becomes secondary. And he just wants to be around that someone that brings peace to him, brings peace in the household. He's coming home. He may have had a hard day, a long day. Not only is it like, okay, did you cook for him? Did you clean? But how does he feel when he comes home? Does he feel comfortable? Does he feel like he's in a place where he can just release and be himself? Does he feel like he can just let you know everything that went on and feel safe enough to just share things that maybe he doesn't share with other, that maybe he's never felt comfortable sharing with other women in his life, but he feels comfortable with you because you're his safe place emotionally. Let me see if I got another question coming in here. That's the part I'm trying to understand. People keep saying men are simple. I don't believe it right now. Is it because I don't fully understand femininity? And it's not necessarily because you don't fully understand femininity. It's really because just stepping out and saying, okay, whatever thoughts I have, whatever I saw growing up, I have to really look at that and say, okay, was this masculine energy? So it's not that you don't understand femininity. It's really looking and say, what was masculine energy? What's my definition of masculine energy? Because masculine energy is all about simplicity, being disciplined, being being really loyal, and something that's pretty predictable. Most masculine men are predictable as far as the route that they take to work. They're going to wear a polo shirt like I have on, maybe have about 12 colors of it. They're going to have on some khakis. They're going to, whatever it is, they're really simple in their approach. They're not really flashy, right? These are signs of masculinity, because not only is it that they're taking care of other stuff, but we're not sitting around putting 12 outfits on the bed and trying to figure out which one I should wear today, right? Or got our gold chains lined up, 12 watches lined up, 20 different types of colognes lined up, and trying to see which one I'm going to wear today. That's not masculine energy. Now, some men do it, but that's not masculine energy. Masculine energy is, let me put on something so I can be presentable. I'm clean cut, but I have to take care of some business. So really understanding what that looks like. Someone who's disciplined, who you may see someone who works out consistently, but it's not about their look. They're doing it consistently because this is their routine each and every day, right? They're not posting pictures with no shirt on, talking about how many women like them. and that's an inside joke for the one of the shows that we watched. What's the name of it, babe? The Ultimatum, right? And some of you ladies may know that, but that's not what we talk about when we talk about masculine energy. It's really about protecting, providing, the consistency as well. And sometimes masculine energy can look boring because it's like, okay, I'm used to, exciting someone matching my fly. I love dressing alike and going out, which is great. Nothing wrong with that. But masculine energy, that's not what we're all about. We'll do it because it's something that you want to do. But most of the times you'll have to pick out the outfits as well if it's something that you're matching with, right? But it's not about that. We do things, we try to be as I forgot the word that I was looking for. But yes, thank you, babe. We try to be as efficient as possible. Everything is efficiency. From what time we wake up to driving, like we're driving around, we have to go to 3 places. We're thinking about which route is the most efficient route. We don't want to just start driving and we see something and like, okay, what about, let's go there first instead. No, that's wasting time and energy. Let's get the efficient route before we leave out. We're going to Walmart. We're going to the restaurant, and we're going to a clothing store. I'm mapping out which way. Okay, let's end. For me, let's end at the spot that's closest to the house. And everybody goes about it differently. So the masculine energy is so simple to understand. And that's what I mean when I say simple. It's so easy to understand because it's simple and it may look boring. And a lot of the feminine energy is creative energy, always just coming up with great ideas and just artistic. These are more feminine qualities, feminine energy qualities, because it's not as much stability, because it's not as much, okay, predictability. So, ladies, let me know if you have any questions. Hopefully, that answered your question for you. Good morning. Mia's love, good morning. Yes, please like, share, comment. Feminine Energy Academy. Make sure you jump in there. Natasha and I go so much deeper. This is just one section, the Ask a Man section, but we talk about hormones, health, business. We just go deeper into embodying all these things into your life. It's one thing to understand it on a head knowledge level, but we go so deep on how to embody this lifestyle, the feminine energy lifestyle, and just give you so many tools, audios. We have a community with about 300, no, close to 500 members in our community that just share, they talk to each other. It's like a Facebook, it's like a YouTube, it's like an IG, just chat room. People are there 24/7, helping each other, asking questions, just seeing their businesses flourish, supporting each other. It's a community like none other. Link in bio. Make sure you jump into it so you can be a part of it as well. Thanks so much. So any other questions? Today, we're just going deeper on Ask a Man, and any questions that you ladies have that you may be sitting around thinking about. You may be in relationships where he's kind of ghosting, or you may have just started talking to someone. You had a couple of great dates. Now he hasn't reached out to you and you're wondering what happened. Things seemed so good at the beginning. He was calling you. He opened the door for you. He brought flowers, and now he ghosted you, and you're trying to figure out what happened. Confident if you're in a relationship with a man who has a lot of women around him? I love that question. Before I answer the question, starting tomorrow, we're going to do, and this is for the ladies in the Feminine Energy Academy, starting tomorrow, we're going to have our workout with Mia on Saturday for all the ladies in the Feminine Energy Academy. We're going to do a live workout together. I won't be in it, but it'll be all the ladies for about 45 minutes, an hour. This is something new just for the ladies in the community. If you're not in it, make sure you jump in so you can join this workout. If you're in it, make sure you bring all of your yoga mats. Make sure you bring your light weights. Make sure you bring your mind ready to work tomorrow. So we're excited. Tomorrow, 9 a.m. Pacific. We're jumping on. We'll share all the information in the Feminine Energy Academy. Make sure you're there. Let me go ahead and answer this. How can you be confident if you're in a relationship with a man who has a lot of women around him? Well, your confidence comes from within first and foremost. So when you're in a relationship or considering a relationship, and I don't know what status of relationship you're in, first you come in whole. And if you're not whole, then it's always going to be areas in which you'll be triggered in specifically. And it's the nature of, men that may be charismatic, men that move and shake, men that are connected and have positions. And these are mostly masculine energy men because they're around so many people and moving, making things happen, that generally it's going to be a lot of women that may be around them or attracted to them, depending on what field he's working in. In those cases, it's important to have conversations around what makes you feel safe. It's important to have conversations around how things are working, being that he works in this field or he has these type of women around him, how you guys decide to move forward just in how he acts, how he talks, what the expectations are. Those conversations are important to have at the beginning. If it's already past the beginning stages, then it's important to let them know this is how I feel and understand that, okay, either this is for work. Is this important for these ladies to be around you while they're around you? Those conversations are super important because a lot of times the men in your life necessarily aren't attracted to these ladies, but it's certain parameters that you have to have up so you feel comfortable in the situation. And the same with Natasha and I, we've had these conversations. How do you feel? What makes you feel safe being that, okay, women may say stuff to you, or what makes me feel safe if men are saying stuff to her? And it varies for each person. It's what makes you feel comfortable. But one thing you don't want to do if he's not having conversations, if he's not taking things to the next level with these ladies, if they're just around him, one thing you don't want to do is just tell him that they shouldn't be around him. Because this could be something that's helping his career, but the parameters, what makes you feel safe, is what makes him feel comfortable. He'll have that conversation, but telling him what to do, specifically depending on where you are in your relationship, that usually doesn't go over well. So have the conversation, see exactly why these ladies are around him, and see if this is something that you can make micro changes on so you can feel safer. So because most masculine energy men want you to feel safe. So that's not a problem. If he's a healthy masculine energy man, he's okay with making you feel safe. Sometimes we just don't know because it could be normal for him for ladies to be around him. So he might not even know or see them in that way. But having that conversation will really help you and help the relationship. Right? So hopefully that helped as well. Being hurt by a man can cause a woman to look at men in a bad way and can mess with their feminine side, right? Like being hard. And that's 100% true. And that's why it's so important to make sure you do your healing. And we talk so much about this in the Feminine Energy Academy, just how to heal through situations where you may have been hurt, may have been cheated on. The trust may have been broken. And it's important that you get the information and start embodying the new you, understanding your value, understanding that even though that happened to you, you're not going to be held back, or that's not going to identify you moving forward. So getting the healing, being a part of communities where you get this information, brainwashing yourself with new information instead of what the natural response is. The natural response is to shut down for most people. The natural response is to get angry and to no longer want to deal with that, maybe men on that level. Now it's like, okay, now I'm just going to use men for what I need them for because I don't want to get hurt again. So I'll make sure they don't hurt me. I may hurt them, but at least I won't get hurt. And that's the path that most people go down after they get cheated on, after they get hurt, if they don't get that healing. So it's important that you get a part of a community, you get some type of understanding and help. And the Feminine Energy Academy, we've seen the ladies that have been in tough relationships, marriages, things like that. They may have been verbally abused, may have been physically abused, but they have the tools and start embodying the new them and really focusing on yourself. Because if you're with a man who's cheated or anything like that, you start going into the next relationship with those antennas up. Right? We got the antennas up like, okay, he came home late today, he didn't call me on time, he must be cheating. And that's the road that you don't want to go down. So getting the new information inside of you, embodying the new you, so you can attract a healthy masculine energy man and be able to push past that. Because those things can derail you for years if you don't deal with them. And then you start embodying the person who's making sure they don't get hurt. And that's not the road that you want to go down. So just jumping into something like the Feminine Energy Academy, getting around the women, being able to speak and talk about what happened is a sign of healing. Really being able to speak about it without getting angry, without really getting upset, or without lashing out shows that you're growing in that area. So link is in the bio if you want to jump into there as well. That's the part. Join the Feminine Energy Academy. So yeah, that's so. Unfortunately, that situation happens more often than not. A lot of women are going through that, but they're suffering in silence in most cases. You're suffering. People know what happened at the beginning. Everybody's on your side. Then the critical point is, do you deal with it, or does it become something that becomes part of your daily language, right? You're talking about it. You may talk bad about the situation, about the opposite sex, you may start talking bad about. And now it becomes an area that deeper wounds have developed in. If you don't fix a wound, if you don't treat a wound, it gets worse. And it's the same in relationship. If someone's cheating on you and you don't deal with it, that hurt, that pain gets deeper. It's 5 years later, you haven't even looked at the man and men anymore. You're just so focused on your work, so focused on making things happen. Now you're all the way in your masculine energy. So it's so many ripple effects of not dealing with open wounds that it's best to just deal with it, move on, and then see the healing, which opens up so many doors. So hopefully that helped answer your questions on that specific topic. So any other questions that you want to talk about? Again, tomorrow, agreed with it. Thanks so much. Tomorrow, we're going live. Natasha's going live for the ladies in the Feminine Energy Academy doing the workout tomorrow. So make sure you jump on. Make sure you join the academy. It's going to do a live workout. Have your yoga mats, your weights, everything ready, your water, right? Get ready to sweat. Going to have some fun as well. Outdoors look, yes, and it's okay as well if you don't have weights. We'll do modifications as well. So it's all levels of workout. If you're someone who's in the gym 7 days a week, or if you haven't been in the gym in 7 years, right? Everybody's invited to join. No weights needed. Your body weight is going to be enough if that's all you have. But yeah, we're in our dream location. We got the pool in the back. I need to go jump in there now, but just wanted to jump on and share with you ladies. So any other questions that you ladies have about your relationship, 7 years? Yes. You never know. I mean, it's people get busy. People get busy in life, and you look up at 7 years later, you haven't worked out. So we want to get you back into it. And trust me, it's going to be fun, but don't feel like you have to be able to do everything. We just want you there getting started. If you need to take breaks in between, please take breaks. We're going to go over all of that tomorrow, but trust me, it's going to be worth your time. And it's true. I agree. Yes. Yes. Both are a blessing to the community. Thank you so much. What would be the best way to bring up making our relationship exclusive? Love it. Putting a title on it, I would say. I have one son. He has 4 kids. He flew me to meet his family and him last week. We met online. This sounds like our story almost. It sounds like Natasha and our story. She had 4 kids. I had none, but she was living in Canada. I was in the U.S. I actually flew to her, and now we're married 11 months after. Now we're 5 months into our marriage. So definitely sounds pretty similar in that way. So the best, yes, in Canada. He's in the U.S. Oh, that's the same thing. Michaela? Okay, yeah. Yes, definitely. If you're not in the Feminine Energy Academy, this is the place for you, Michaela, because this story is almost parallel to what we're doing, to how we got here, right? And we talk more about it in there as well and go deeper into it. I joined the Academy the other day. Okay, perfect. So let me help answer your question, Michaela. Love you too, Michaela. The best way to bring up being exclusive in a relationship, and Natasha talks about this all the time. When you're looking to move into a new direction with relationships, and I know you guys have been together, you visited him, things are going so well. What happens is a lot of times with men, we can definitely not be as quickly on moving forward in relationships, even if it's someone that we desire to be with, because Sometimes men are trying to get things together financially. They're trying to get things together in their home. Most of the times we want things perfect before we move forward in the relationship. And it could be an expectation that we have because of ourselves or because it's something that we're thinking you need before we can take it to the next level. Yeah, right. And we get that based off of conversation. So it could be something along those lines. But the thing for you to do, Michaela, is just to, as you're having conversations with him, you can just start talking about the things that you're going to be doing in the next 6 months. If you desire to be married, if you desire to be in an exclusive relationship, just start talking about what you're going to do. And don't tell him that it has to be with him. So don't say, well, we have to be together in the next 3 months or I'm leaving you. No, that's not the way to do it. A way you can go about it is just let him know is, well, in the next 6 months, I plan on getting married, plan on moving to the US if that's what you plan on doing, or I plan on getting married, I plan on buying my house in the next year. And these are things that you're throwing out there for him to hear. And trust me, we hear it. So as you throw it out there, he's going to start thinking like, is this something that I want her to do without me? Because she sounds like she's going to do it. So as you throw it out there, if he catches it, then that's a great thing. If he doesn't catch it, then that's okay. That's why we always encourage rotational dating until it becomes exclusive. Because sometimes you're into that person and it might be bad timing, which in this case, I won't say that's the case, but it could be bad timing. It could be that they're looking for something else. But when you're living your life, when you're talking about what you're doing in your life, he's either going to decide that's what I want in my life as well, like I did, as she started talking about some things she was doing as far as getting married, started dating. I wanted to make sure it was with me. So I made some changes in my life. She never told me that I had to. She never said that if you don't do this in the next 3 months, then that's it. What she said is, I think this was, I forgot what month it was, but she said in September she was going to start dating. So September 1st, I showed up in Canada. And there's a story behind it, but at the end of the day, I showed up. At first, I told her, well, we'll see about December once I'm done coaching. I'll come up there. And as time got closer to September, I moved things around and made my way to Canada September 1st because I wanted to make sure nobody else was dating her. And that's what happens when you talk about what you're doing, not connecting it to him, just connecting it to what you desire to do. Yes, and prior to me going to visit, he did mention me moving there. And that's a good sign, definitely a good sign. But what has to happen is we have to start putting dates on it. Because if he's just saying, okay, I plan on moving you there, when? When is the next step? And I'm not saying ask him, but that's why it's so important for you to talk about your dates. Because if his dates don't line up with your dates, he may plan on moving you there in 2026. And that's not something that may line up with what you want to do. So having those conversations, talking about things with timelines for you, seeing his response, but continue, and I say this, and most of the guys probably don't like it, but continue rotationally dating. Because as men, we're most of the time probably dating multiple women. I won't even say rotationally dating, but we're probably dating or talking to multiple women as well. And most men keep their options open, but once they find the person they want, and they're a healthy masculine energy man, they're going to just stop everything for that. But most men aren't just dating you. And you don't want to just only date him when things have not been solidified. Next steps, he hasn't put timelines on things. He flew you out, which is great. That's a great step. And I want to make sure we acknowledge that's a great first step, flying you out. But putting dates on things is so key. Yes, we did both get off of the dating app together. Great sign. That's a great sign that you got off the app. But dates, having timelines. Timelines is key. It's no way around timelines. If you don't get timelines, just think about stuff at work. If it's a project that's due and they just tell you, okay, let's get this in sometime soon. What does sometime soon mean? Sometime soon could mean 6 months for you. It could mean 2 years for somebody else. It could mean a week for somebody else. So making sure you're specific on your timelines and have that stuff written out. You can't change it up. You have to stick to your boundaries, stick to the things that you're saying, because if you don't, then he'll start taking advantage of it. Not because he doesn't like you, not because he doesn't want to be with you, but that's just the nature of most men. If you don't have boundaries, then they'll just do whatever. So that sounds better. Sounded like Mike covered. Yeah, I'm sorry about that. I felt like I was covering the mic as well. But definitely, Michaela, timelines are important. Timelines are important when dealing with anyone, specifically in relationships, and talking about what you desire. And I saying in this way, but forget what he wants in this situation because you're not together. What do you desire? And if they line up, what he desires and what you desires lines up, or if it's something where you can talk about it and come to some type of agreement, great. But if it's too far apart, then it's okay. I mean, Natasha and I, a little story about us, we met in 2022. We talked for a couple of months. For me, I wasn't ready. I had some things to deal with, some things to get in order. And we just stopped talking for about 6 months. And as soon as she was ready to move forward, I just got an intuition, right? Something in my spirit started rumbling. I reached out to her, but this was right before that. I think that same day she had deleted my number. And it was right before she had decided that she was going to start dating. So when I came in, I had to come full force, right? I had to come like I'm ready to get married, right? I had to work backwards. I'm ready to be married. Now she asked me, how long do you think it'll be before you're ready? And I said, I think I'll be ready in 6 to 12 months. And I think about maybe 8 months. 8 months later, I proposed to her. 3 months after that, we got married. So that's so important, standing on what you desire to have. I'm about to initiate my timeline. This is so good. That's right, Tisa. And yes, Natasha teaches you all this in the Feminine Energy Academy, how to get your timelines in order, how to have your non-negotiables. Because it's so important to understand it's not only about, okay, is this person, do they have a great job? Are they the same religion as me? But what lifestyle are they living? Because I know for Natasha, it was so important. It's not about, you can get someone that makes millions of dollars, but it's about understanding the lifestyle that comes with it. So is this person working a job where we're never together? Is this person open to different types of entrepreneurship? I know a lot of our ladies are looking to go into entrepreneurship, step outside of their regular business, start new businesses. Does this person line up with that lifestyle where they're available, where they're available maybe to help with the kids? Or are they working all the time and paying the bills? They're paying everything, but they're always at work. That matters as well. Natasha goes deep into that in the Feminine Energy Academy, just helping you to understand and make sure that you look at every area, not just are they 6'2", 6'3", 220, and dark skin, whatever you desire, right? If they're me, let me say no, but whatever you desire, if they're that physically, or if they have a nice smile, or they're a family man, all of that stuff is important. But you have to have an order of what's most important to you, because you're not only marrying and dating that person, but you're dating their lifestyle as well. So you want to make sure that all of those things line up. And she goes deep into that in the Feminine Energy Academy. It was a couple of questions. Michaela said, right, thank you so much. I'm planning to mention my timeline when he visits in January. Yes, definitely. And when you do it, you have to remain open to whatever his response is. So when he says whatever he says, it's not for you to get triggered, upset. I mean, you can get a little excited if it's someone that you desire to be with potentially, but it's not for you to get emotional with his response. It's just you sharing. And remember, and Natasha goes into this as well, you're all just practicing this till you meet the person who lines up with what you desire. Some practice may be better than others, right? It's like basketball practice. I coach, you may get a good team and they practice well, but until the game starts, practice is practice. It doesn't matter until you get the results. Okay, thanks. I'm about to initiate my timeline. Okay, Tisa, Zaza, I love the Feminine Energy Academy. Thank you so much, Esperanza. Gosh, where was this teaching in the 80s? The truth is starting to come out now. Why? Well, in the 80s, I was probably not old enough to do the teaching, but we're here now. But no, this is just the way the world is going now. Like we're sharing information. People are coming to people for information. We're not going to get it from gurus or anything like that. We're just looking for information from people that it's working for. And we're just giving you what has worked for us and the ladies in our community. That's what she was saying in her head. Exactly. Wish I could join, but I'll be working. The replay will be available for all the ladies who won't be able to get on the workout Saturday. Replay in the Feminine Energy Academy. Yep, you're just practicing, having fun, and being detached from the outcome. That's so important, being detached from the outcome, because the outcome is what it is, but the right person, when you start talking about things that are going on, your timelines, the things that you desire, as Natasha talks about, you'll get exactly what you're looking for. It'll be so close, everything will line up, unless you're talking about stuff like, okay, I don't want somebody who, you know, may snore every now and again, like stuff that doesn't matter as much. You have to look at how important is that, right, to the qualities and the character of the person that you're looking for. Yes, healing ourselves without relying on doctors. It's so many ways that people, and we won't go into that, but so many ways that people are being able to heal themselves, and not just physically, but heal themselves mentally, heal their relationships, heal so many areas of their life. And people are getting real results. These aren't just, okay, I'm going to heal myself, but people and women in the Feminine Energy Academy, real results in their relationships, real results in their business, real results in their hormones, right? So women that have been healed from PCOS, reverse diabetes, there's so much real results just taking natural steps. And that's what we're doing here with the relationships as well. So important. That's why Feminine Energy Academy is so amazing, because it helps with that a lot. Feminine Energy Academy, if I wasn't in it, I would get in it. I don't think I'm eligible to get in it as a man, but if I wasn't in it as a lady, I would get in it, because it covers so much. I mean, it's courses in there that within themselves are thousands of dollar courses, but you all get so much for the $39 a month. And being able to cancel anytime. Listen, I went to the restaurant last week and spent $39 when I walked in. Right? It was almost $39 to get a seat. So making sure that you invest in yourself is so key. Investing, even sometimes you can even look at it. I know a lot of times, a lot of jobs have you kind of pay you to invest in yourself. So look into see if your job will pay for it or reimburse you in it. It's so many different ways, because this is your mental health that you're dealing with right here. So it's so many different ways that you can actually be a part of a community. But this community is just so awesome. The ladies in here, we just love them. I'm healing myself physically and mentally with no doctor help. It's amazing. Gotta join the academy. And that's coming from Tisa. Tisa's been in the academy a couple months. And a lot of this just comes from the emotion that you hold on, things that you're holding on to. It's not even you actually taking something, it's you releasing, right? Because all the stuff you're holding on to, just letting go. Women are losing 10, 12 pounds in a month just by letting go, not even taking any supplements, just by letting go all that they've been holding on to, the old gut health, and it all stores up in your gut. So we have so many answers. The link is at the bottom. Before I jump off, I want to see if we have any more questions. Remember, tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific, jump on, all the ladies in the Feminine Energy Academy. We're going to do a workout. Natasha's going to lead the workout for you ladies. So come ready to sweat and have fun. Any other questions that you ladies may have? It's been so great. So many good questions here. Michaela, as well as Zaza, just so many people asking great questions, because these are real life situations that we're dealing with. A lot of ladies are looking to date and marry, and it doesn't matter if you're 20 or 70. I mean, we were watching Later Dater, And ladies on there, 63, 70 years old, getting into relationships, women who haven't dated in years necessarily, but getting into relationship, having different options. And a lot of it comes from just being in their feminine energy. The ladies who were able to move forward in relationships is because they were in their feminine and they were able to have their list. They were able to go down the line and do things in the correct way. And that's what we help you with here in the Feminine Energy Academy. So any more questions that you ladies have, the link is in the bio. It's right there at the bottom. Click on the link, jump in the academy. Once you get in, just DM us, ask us questions, let us know why you're there. We'll respond to you and kind of give you a step-by-step guide on some of the areas you can focus on just to heal in. And we have so much information in there, so many different courses in the classroom section of it. Also, you get to jump in the community, talk to the ladies, get encouragement from the ladies. A lot of the ladies have dealt with a lot of the things that you're dealing with, have seen healing and gotten through those areas. And a lot of those ladies will help you with that as well. When I think of someone, my stomach reacts. Do you think that's my nervous system? When I think of someone, it's definitely connected to your nervous system, because when you think of that person, you have a response. And the response is in your stomach, right? So when you have that response, a lot of times it's because, for one, you can't control that response because you haven't dealt with it. So your nervous system just feels a certain way once you're in that situation, see that person, because it happens so much. You can see someone and haven't talked to them in years and still feel a certain way if someone even says that name. Someone looks like them, you start feeling a certain way. Because in your nervous system, you haven't dealt with it. You haven't let that person go in some situations. You haven't forgiven that person. You haven't moved on from whatever situation that is. That's why you respond. When you stop responding in that way, when you see that person or hear something, that means you've released that. You've let them go. And we all go through that. We all deal with that, but we have to make sure that we get healing that in that area, or else it'll continue. And it may even pass down to someone who just says something that sounds like them. They have the same voice that they have, and you start feeling a certain way. They may have said a quote that person said, and now your stomach is turning. But you want to deal with that so you can get healing in it. And of course, we go through all that with the audios, with the brainwashing in the Feminine Energy Academy, brainwashing and putting the right information inside of you. Keep up with your daily routine with this type of videos with Mia. Great job, beautiful couple. Thank you. Yes, so many videos that we have, so many audios. It's really, we're just creating audios. It feels like daily. As women grow and develop, more audios are coming out. We have hundreds of audios that are in the community right now. So you'll probably go a month or two without needing anything new. That's how much information is in there. Plus all the ladies, literally within 30 seconds of you asking a question, it feels like some ladies answering it. They answer it even before we get to it. And a lot of it is because they've listened to the audios. They've started doing the inner healing. They've started doing the work. So they have answers, and we'll come behind and we'll just agree with them, and we'll give our perspective on it. But it's so many ladies in there that have done the work, that have answers that can help, along with, we're in there. We have to put time, we have to put boundaries on it, because we're in there all the time. So whenever you need something, whenever you have a question, just jump in the Feminine Energy Academy. You'll get that answer from us. So great question. Any other questions before we get off? Thanks a lot for that question, Yolanda. Any other questions before we get off? Definitely excited. We got some end of the year stuff coming up for the ladies. We got some stuff that we're getting ready for in 2025. We're going to be doing a few things together in 2025 that we'll talk about in the Feminine Energy Academy as well. So super excited. Definitely thanks for jumping on. The link is in the bio. Thank you for your time today, Coach B. No problem, Esperanza. The link is in the bio to join the Feminine Energy Academy. Jump in, ask us any questions that we didn't address today. We'll make sure we answer those questions for you. We'll see you ladies tomorrow on the Mastermind Workout class. And then remember, every Friday we'll be on here asking a man questions, right? We're making this a Friday thing. So get your questions ready every Friday so we can help you ladies out. Thanks for joining, and we will see you all tomorrow and in the Feminine Energy Academy.